All hail.
Well, over the last week, we have had some big news coming out of both TNA and NXT. In fact, you could call it show-stopping news, main event news, iconic news. Some people want to make it into heartbreaking news. By that I mean Dave Meltzer and a bunch of people that don't watch TNA, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So last week, General Manager Ava, aka The Rock's daughter on NXT, announced Roxanne Perez's challenger for NXT Battleground. And it turned out to be the current TNA Knockouts World Champion, Jordynne Grace. The entire place went ape shit, loud TNA chants burst out in the entire building. Then news came out afterwards that WWE and TNA are looking at cross-promoting. NXT gets the occasional TNA person, TNA gets access to WWE talent. Now, at the moment, it doesn't look like Major League WWE talent. Tonight on NXT, they tease that Brooke Jensen will be going over there for a little bit. They tease that Jordynne Grace's mystery opponent for Against All Odds may be old crazy-ass yet incredibly hot Tatum Baxley. And, yeah, Jordynne showed up, had a match against Stevie Turner, dominant. And so now we've got Jordynne versus Roxanne for the NXT title next week. And because it's the internet, of course, and because it's TNA, the internet can't just let a positive be a positive. Because this is awesome. There don't seem to be any ulterior motives from WWE. But because the internet is full of idiots that for whatever reason want to have opinions on TNA they're not qualified to have, they don't watch, they never watch, they don't intend to watch, yet they've got 1,000,001 fucking opinions on TNA. Everybody's diving in, being negative. This must mean WWE is trying to acquire TNA. This means WWE is going to buy TNA. This means WWE is going to absorb TNA and turn it into the TNA version of whatever the fuck Cocaine Khan's doing with Ring of Honor at the moment. And who's leading this charge? Why, none other than the useless idiot that is Dave Meltzer. Because a couple of days after this news came out, after you had a whole bunch of WWE and TNA guys tweeting back and forth about who's showing up where, dumb shit Dave posts a story about how Anthem have let a bunch of people behind the scenes from TNA go. Well, 2 people got let go, 1 person quit. The reality is these people got let go because Anthem, TNA's parent company, are trying to streamline their production staff between TNA and their MMA product, Invicta. People like Lou D'Angeli, people like Dave Sahadi were redundant. So, they got let go. But because people want to put 2 and 2 together and get 5, and because all Meltzer's done is keep trying to plant seeds of shit's going south in TNA, even though nothing indicates shit's going south in TNA, people assume this is somehow Anthem taking steps to sell off TNA to WWE. Now, how the fuck that happens from a talent exchange and from 3 people leaving, I don't know. But then you have idiots trying to tie this into Scott D'Amore's firing, saying, well, this has obviously been the plan since Scott D'Amore got let go. Like, how the fuck did Scott D'Amore get promoted to this almost deity status people are trying to put him at? Scott got fired because he couldn't get along with the dude that runs Anthem. Nothing more, nothing less. And if fucking Anthem wanted to sell off the company, they would have taken the $10 million offer that Scott was putting on the table there and then. If they're not selling it to a guy that has helped try and recover the brand's respect, why the fuck would they sell it to WWE? That doesn't make any sense. It makes even less sense when you consider TNA is Anthem's crown jewel. TNA is the money spinner. TNA is the crown jewel of Access TV. TNA is the one that makes the money. TNA, and as much as people want to take the piss out of nobody watches TNA, comparatively speaking, people watch a fuck ton more TNA than anything they watch on Access TV. Tripped over my words, but TNA Impact is the highest rated show on Access TV, and it's not even fucking close. So why would Anthem just sell off a product that is making them money? That doesn't make sense. Without TNA, all Access TV is a bunch of old rock and roll reruns and old TV shows that nobody's watching. Anthem gets rid of that, and how are they meant to be making money? Wrestling fans as a general aren't a smart bunch, but groupthink makes it so easy for people just to jump on a bus and not think for themselves. So allow me, if you would, to address and correct a lot of the stupid crap these people are saying online. First off, again, Anthem are not selling TNA. If you have a bunch of properties and one is your standout that makes you a shit ton of money, more than any of the others, and it's highly unlikely something of that kind comes along, why would you get rid of it? And don't feed me that it's on a decline again bullshit. No, it isn't. And again, this is something Meltzer mouths off about with no freaking clue what he's talking about. I put this question to you like this, people. Anytime Meltzer mouths off about TNA, ask the question, who's feeding him? Who's giving him this information? How does he know any of this? Where is this coming from? Because Meltzer's batting a pretty piss-poor batting average this year. This is the same idiot that saw a picture of Hunter and The Rock together and went, these guys are having a feud at WrestleMania. It was a 10-year-old photo and Triple H has a pacemaker in his chest. The dude almost died. There is no way he's getting in the fucking ring and wrestling with a pacemaker. But this is the type of shit Meltzer's making up these days. Meltzer doesn't like TNA. Meltzer is an AEW fanboy. Meltzer knows that this will fuck over AEW to a point. So he's pissed off. So obviously he's going to invent shit and spin doctor it because he knows that most of the internet, for some reason, wants to see TNA fail. They want to put TNA in this position of permanent LOL TNA. Look at the reaction to Against All Odds. And look at the contrasting reactions there. Internet's once again taking the fact that Matt Hardy's in a main event to shit on TNA, go LOL TNA, and try and claim that they've got no talent on the roster. While ignoring the fact they've got a stacked roster and it's probably better than it's been in a long, long time. Especially since they purged a bunch of comedy wrestlers last year. You get people going, oh yeah, Matt Hardy, Moose, what a shit main event. Tag team match, the Nemeth brothers versus Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. Crap. Mustafa Ali versus Trent Seven. Crap. Jordynne Grace Open Challenge, which is probably going to be answered by Tatum Paxley. I don't think that's even been announced on TV yet. Guess what? Tickets for Against All Odds have sold out. The show's sold out. So, obviously, some people like the card. They've only announced 3 matches on TV for the fucking card. Yet the show's sold out. Slammiversary. Montreal. PCO's heavily advertised that in Montreal. They're holding it in a bloody 4,000 capacity building and it's looking like tickets are going to sell out at this trajectory. So your next 2 shows are doing extremely well. How does that mean TNA is going badly? It just means people want to say lol TNA at anything TNA does. And then Meltzer tries to put further negative spin doctoring on it by going, oh, doom and gloom, TNA haven't announced anything past their Florida tapings. Well, no shit. They don't normally announce things until they're 2 months away. Bound for Glory's location is never announced until Slammiversary. And there were those rumours earlier this year that TNA wants to go to Hammerstein Ballroom. So by process of elimination, Bound for Glory is more than likely going to be taking place at Hammerstein Ballroom. I could be wrong, but it's highly likely. So again, Meltzer's talking out of his fucking ass trying to spin doctor shit for people who don't want to know what they're talking about when it comes to TNA. Most of the people that criticize and mock TNA don't pay attention to TNA. They don't watch. The number of people I fucking saw mouthing off on social media about how fucking Rebellion was based around advertising the return of Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy was a surprise return. His name wasn't connected to the show at all. Nobody knew Matt Hardy was showing up till Matt Hardy showed up. So how do you base a show around someone if they're never mentioned, not in advertising, not even teased on the internet? Think about it. Try rubbing two brain cells together before you criticize a company you don't watch. But people want to latch onto this thing of TNA's doom and gloom since Saint Scott D'Amore, the alleged only good booker in the universe, got let go. Scott D'Amore, the only one that apparently cared about the company, never mind everybody else there. Scott D'Amore, the guy that was apparently not only running the company, booking the talent, signing the talent, doing marketing, doing promotion, wrestling the matches himself apparently, being a referee, being a timekeeper, being a commentator. Apparently everybody else was just a sprig of parsley while Scott was running things, or at least so the fucking narrative would say. But people want to be doom and gloom, and again, this umming, plans change, idiot fed into it by throwing out these fucking bullshit reports about Anthem cutting money, Anthem cutting costs, Anthem not signing talent to long-term contracts, Anthem letting people walk. Meanwhile, 3 wrestlers have left since Scott D'Amore got fired. The Motor City Machine Guns, who, while they're big enough names, we're getting a little bit stale, if I'm honest. I mean, there's only so much Chris Sabin can do in 4 years. Alex Shelley came, went a few times since 2020, so I don't know why people act like Alex Shelley leaving's gonna fuck the company, considering Chris Sabin was a permanent fixture since 2020, Shelley wasn't. But then the third one is Sheldon Jean, and Sheldon Jean's not a massive loss. As far as I'm aware, he was one of Scott's guys that got signed because he was one of Scott's guys. He was a lower card guy partnered with Kenny King, and then when Kenny got the boot, Sheldon never really had anything to do, so out he went. One people like throwing up is Josh Alexander. Now the thing there is, Anthem had that 1-year contract extension, and as Josh has said himself in interviews, they had the right to flex that extension. He's a wee bit knocked off they did, but they were well within their rights because it was in the contract he signed. Now, whether that means he's going to haul ass next year when his contract runs out, who's to say? He is Mr. TNA, and I'd like to think Anthem wants to pay him the money that he deserves to stay there. But that was the no-win situation for Anthem. While it seems like kind of a dick move at face value, you got to look at it like this. This is at the start of when everybody started whining about Scott leaving. So Anthem were in the position of keep him and look like jerks, or let him go and further fuel the sinking ship talent escaping train. So they kept Josh, put him in a feud with Alex Hammerstone. People are saying, oh, Josh is lost in the mid-card. Josh just got out of his feud with Hammerstone. He's been sick or injured the last few shows, and only now is he good to go. I can imagine he'll show up at Against All Odds, and he'll get a mystery opponent too. They'll probably put something together just to give us a Josh match on the card. But failing that, nobody's left. Nobody's jumped ship. That's not to say nobody will, but so far, they've retained a pretty consistent talent roster. And as far as the not spending and not offering contracts goes, well, that's obviously been disproven. They re-signed Jonathan Gresham, re-signed Ace Austin, re-signed Steve Macklin, signed Hammerstone, and signed Mike Santana so far. Now, I would like to see them sign more women because, quite frankly, the KO's division is the weakest it's been in a long, long time right now. But you can't say they're not signing talent to contracts and only offering handshake deals when they're offering fucking contracts and have offered contracts. So that's the long story short points I'm trying to make is Meltzer's got no fucking credibility and doesn't know what he's fucking talking about when it comes to TNA. The man's full of more shit than a septic tank, but because people have a confirmation bias when it comes to TNA, they will say whatever the fuck they want about TNA, and they will buy into whatever negative narrative's out there. Then you get people going on, well, the evil empire never works with anybody. This isn't Vince McMahon's WWE. This is Triple H's WWE. It's not the first time he's brought TNA talent in. Jordynne appeared at the 2024 Royal Rumble. Mickie James appeared in the 2022 Royal Rumble. And now at no point there was TNA for sale because they fired Scott D'Amore or because they're working for the evil E-Fed. People just want to panic and want to jump onto whatever little fucking crumb of being able to link their idiocy together they can get. But why is TNA the only one people seem to do this to? Was New Japan up for sale when Jushin Thunder Liger appeared at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, the first TakeOver Brooklyn, when he faced Tyler Breeze? No. Was somewhere or something screwed when Alex Shelley appeared to team up with Kushida in the Dusty Cup a few years ago? No. But Alex Shelley was a one-off, didn't sign a contract. But Trips does this stuff all the time because Triple H is a wrestling fan. A lot of the shit Triple H has done over the years is because he's a wrestling fan. Triple H never admitted it out loud back then because obviously WWE was in full WCW sucked and LOLOL we better fucking mode when they were doing documentaries. But Triple H wanted to be a WCW guy. WWE was Triple H's second fucking option. The man has borderline admitted as much in interviews since, but then you look at everything about him during his Evolution run, and Trips is a major league WCW fanboy. He is a big old school wrestling fan, and he's a fan of wrestling tradition. Dude brought back the World Heavyweight title belt, the big gold belt, because he's a WCW fan. Wanted to bring War Games back at Survivor Series 2002, had to wait, bought it back in NXT, because he's a WCW guy. Evolution was him cosplaying Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen. He wanted them to be the Four Horsemen. Vince told him to get fucked. That handlebar moustache he had in 2005, 2006, it wasn't just to pay homage to Lemmy. He was paying homage to Harley Race. Triple H is a wrestling fan, just like the rest of us. So is Shawn Michaels, just like the rest of us. This isn't fucking NXT UK all over again either. Because, yeah, they didn't exactly do right by the UK indies. The UK indie scene didn't help itself by being full of predators, perverts, and rapists. But the UK scene was a bunch of indie promotions. TNA is not an indie promotion, no matter how the fuck much anyone wants to slice it. They're a company owned by a profitable organization that hands out talents, that restrict talents to certain shows and certain dates, unless they're on a handshake deal. And the really, really, really important one here is that TNA is not up for sale in the first fucking place. As I said, their Anthem's big money spinner and their Anthem's crown jewel. They're not going to get rid of them, and they're not going to fucking sell something because WWE goes knocking going, we want that. That's not how corporate sales work, and that's not how business sales work. People are just taking a bunch of Meltzer's negative fucking bullshit, fusing it together with some really fucking positive news here, with WWE working with TNA and TNA getting more exposure. People just want TNA to be in a perpetual state of being fucked. Like, people want to push this narrative of TNA makes no money. TNA's only been out of business, almost out of business twice. The first time was in 2002, after 10 weeks, where Panda Energy, Dixie Carter's father's company, came in, basically took the company over from the Jarretts, took over ownership of the company. The second time was literally the week of Bound for Glory 2016, when Dixie had tanked the company so hard they weren't even able to pay their talent at that point, and were only saved because Billy Corgan and Anthem put money into the company. Then when the company was up for sale, Anthem were the ones that got it and saved TNA in the first place. Why the fuck is the company that saved TNA going to throw it away for next to nothing. That doesn't make sense. I get wrestling fans aren't that smart. All this is a fucking talent exchange. Nothing more, nothing less. And at the end of the day, the ones that are going to win are wrestling fans. Because we get to see some of our favorite WWE guys show up in TNA, some of our favorite TNA guys show up in WWE. I mean, I think the thing that damn near all of us want to happen is to see AJ Styles show up at fucking Slammiversary for one more match. I think every single fucking WWE and TNA fan out there will be beyond elated to hear Get Ready to Fly hit one more time, AJ Styles get a match against, say, Josh Alexander, for example. Dave Meltzer's talking out of his ass, and this thing is being blown way out of proportion by a bunch of people who want shit to go wrong in TNA. WWE aren't acquiring shit because that's not how business acquisitions work. People are just adding shit up that isn't even there. It's just silly, guys. You're being ridiculous. And this is what I mean about groupthink, is a bunch of idiots jumping on the same train, parroting something the last idiot said that has no fact behind it. If you don't know what you're talking about, then perhaps shut up. Because it's goddamn frustrating to TNA fans like myself constantly seeing people going on about how the company's going down faster than a horny chick on cheap drink night. And before I sign off, I'd love to know why this always seems to be the mentality with TNA and TNA alone. There are smaller companies than TNA operating out there that are doing just fine, that never seem to have this constant scuttlebutt, that never seem to be in a constant state of going out of business, that never seem to be in a constant state of being up for sale, like wrestling fans seem to think TNA is. These people don't think, these people are just parroting shit other idiots say, and they're basing opinions on things going on in their own little heads. If you're not TNA fans, shut up. Thank you. I'm Damian Skyfire. Until next time.